What's up, everyone? Eddie Mercado here with BloodyElbow.com, and I'm about to be speaking with the Trevor Wittman. He has trained multiple world-class talent, from champions to top flight competition. I mean, guys like GSP, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Shane Carwin, Justin Gaethje. I mean, just really a who's who in the world of mixed martial arts. So yeah, he's got a couple fighters in his stable. All of them are pretty much in title contention. Some of them are already champions. So let's catch up with him and kind of see, what's been going on and what's really his secret to all this success.
Hello?
Mr. Trevor Wittman.
Yeah, this is Trevor.
How you doing? Eddie Mercado here with Bloody Elbow.
Very cool. How are you doing?
I'm well, sir. I'm well, sir. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. I know you're a very busy man. You got a stable full of top flight competition who, I mean, they're killing it in pretty much every major promotion. Now, man, so how many world champions have you actually trained?
At the moment, 16.
16. That's insane. Like, are you in a Hall of Fame somewhere?
No.
Well, you need to be because that is insane. It seems to be anytime someone's at the top of a combat sport, you're right there in their corner. I mean, we've seen fun. GSP, Rashad Evans, Shane Carwin, Dwayne Ludwig. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I gotta ask, like, how did you even get into combat sports, and then how did you kind of find your way in the trainer route?
Well, as a child, I watched all the ninja movies that were out, and I wanted to be a ninja as a child, so it was this funny little childhood dream. And then I got into Kempo karate and did that for many years, and then I moved out east and went into a boxing gym and got my butt kicked and decided I wanted to do that and competed for a long period of time, and then ended up getting injured. So I started coaching at a very young age. I started coaching at 20 years old. So, then I kind of, it was a tough decision because I wanted to compete, but, once I put the mitts on for the first time, it was natural for me. And it really fit my spirit because I'm a giving type of person. So it was fun for me. I didn't think I would have fun doing anything outside of competing, but really enjoyed helping people compete. And it was just a fit from that point on.
Okay. Now, what makes you so successful in your opinion?
Well, I think it's caring. It's really treating each athlete uniquely. It's again, it goes back to my spirit of being a giver, and you have to care about the athlete so much. It's funny because starting at such a young age, I had guys that were older than me fighting, and it was always weird. I'd have world champions when I'm the younger coach out there, and I think that kind of built up my name a little bit because everybody's like, who's this young guy? But I cared so much. I was such good friends with them that I would know what pissed them off. I know what cooled them down. I know what would get them focused. So it's really knowing the athlete is what's really helped me, and I'm really into the mental part of fighting.
Okay.
The technical part is one thing, but I really feel people who are mentally strong have the keys to success.
Okay, and I mean, we've really seen that aspect about you as far as caring about your fighters. You are one of the few trainers I've ever seen actually stop a fight for their own fighter's sake. And I mean, I respect it. I think we should see more of it. Sometimes the referee doesn't always stop it when it should be stopped. And some guys are just too tough for their own good. So kudos to you for actually, having the balls to step in and protect one of your guys.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to make. It's hard because, especially like MMA, it involves financial. So if you stop a fight and they don't get their win bonus, I mean, that's a huge thing that pops out. But if you're stopping the fight, there's probably a pretty good chance they're not going to get the win bonus. But it'll also mess with the performance of the night type of bonus too, if it's that type of award. But it's really, I mean, you have to know. Again, you have to know the athlete. And if we go back to like Nate's fight, when I stopped Nate's fight, there was something different. There was something, unique going on that I see him daily in the gym, and I see him perform daily in the gym. So I know his tendencies, and the posture in his body just wasn't right. There was something different than just the fight going on. So I'd get in the corner and I asked him if he's hurt with a body shot because he was flinching at the shoulders, and he said he wasn't hit with a body shot. So I knew right there that was the time to stop it. But it's a hard decision. I mean, it's a lot of times it could go the opposite direction, and fighters always tell you never stop the fight.
Right,
and
right.
I respect that. I totally respect that. But I'm also a true believer that it's not one battle that makes you who you are. It's the longevity of what you do to be able. Everybody wants to do it, and if you're competing at a high level, you want to be able to be remembered for what you did. And sometimes fights will really, you call it ring years, and everybody has a different age, just normal age, but there's always the ring age, and a lot of damage. It'll slow you down, and your longevity will stop, your paychecks will stop. But if you take some really, really bad wars in a fight, to me, that's tough. Especially newcomers too. I think it's very important to understand newcomers. One of my biggest pet peeves is going to amateur competitions and seeing rough battles where they don't stop the fight. And I mean, in amateur boxing, if you look like you're rocked, you're getting a standing 8 count. And it all depends on who the referee is and stuff like that. I mean, referees are always seeing different because they're right up close to it, and that's a tough job too. But the amateurs, it just bothers me to see people allowing the amateurs to go out there when really amateurs is about getting experience and going out there, and they're not getting paid, and you're putting on these fight of the years as an amateur. I mean, for making no money, what do you do? It's nonsense to me. And that'll stop a lot of people from getting on that money train and being able to make a career out of it. So, but again, it's a hard choice to do. I mean, again, you got to remember that the fighters, you work for the fighter. So when you work for the fighter, it's very tough to make those decisions. But I mean, number one, you got to be out for their best interest. And I don't care who tells me to never stop the fight. If you put me as the lead role, if the fighters are out front, you expect I will do something like that.
Right. I mean, it's definitely, with refereeing being so subjective, it's really important, I think, for a trainer to kind of have that authority to step in and protect their guy. But
yeah.
So how did you?
It's tough too. One quick point too. I mean, you get a lot of heat not just from the fighters. You get it from the promoters. I mean, you imagine a main event. It's people paying big money for that. So it's tough sometimes. I mean, referees get a lot of heat for that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the toughest calls in the sport. That's just the way it is. But how did you get mixed up in Grudge Training Center? How did that come to be your home?
Well, I was working through TKO Fight Club, and then we ended up opening up Grudge, and I just kind of went from what I was doing. I had TKO Fight Club, and for me, I wanted to grow it bigger than that. So my brother ended up opening up Grudge Training Center, and it was a name that could, prosper if we wanted to open 2 or 3 gyms. It's hard to own 2 or 3 gyms if it's T's KO, who's the T, So we kind of just branched out from that in 2009 and kind of ran with it. It was a very catchy name, and it fit well for the fight sport.
Okay. Yeah, you have, a lot of talent. A lot of talent coming out of there. You got Josh Copeland just fought for the heavyweight title in the World Series of Fighting against Blagoy Ivanov, and one of the greatest heavyweight fights I've ever seen. I mean, that was an absolute war. Did you get to work with him before that fight?
Yeah, I'm always doing private lessons with Josh. Josh is such a great guy, and I've worked with him for a long part of his career. But the credit really goes to Jake Ramos, who is Grudge Training Center's head coach at the moment for the striking in that fight. He puts lots of time in with them, and at this point in my career, man, I've been doing it for about 20 years now, and I've hit all my goals as a coach. So I've pulled away from coaching so many guys. At one point, I had a team of 45 professionals, and it'll wear on you. My son just graduated. Now he's going to UNC. So you miss lots of time, lots of, going out and watching your kids compete in sports and do that. And that's rough on me mentally. So I got out there, got my goals done, and I'm kind of pulling back from the coaching at the moment. I'm more focusing on a equipment company to help protect athletes. So it's still in my same, driven reason of me being in the sport. But right now I'm just coaching 4 athletes at the moment, and I'll keep it underneath 5 because coaching's in me, something I'll do for the rest of my life. But trying to coach so many guys is very tough. It's tough on the body and mentally. And I really realized it one time I was doing an interview and someone asked me a question about the opponent one of my guys was facing, and I couldn't recall I knew who he was fighting, but I just couldn't recall in the moment, and that was a flag to me saying that, man, I'm doing too much.
Right.
And I can take on athletes and be like, oh, I can give you this, give you that, but if you can't give them the time, and that again, it's knowing your athlete, knowing what he's going through. He's got outside issues. I mean, you got to know everything about him. I prefer to be able to have the time to go up to the hills and run with them and just oversee everything, just to know where they are, And again, if they're right mentally, performance is pretty much nature. So that was a kind of a prime spot for me where I was like, I might want to slow down a little bit and get back to refocusing and again following new goals that I have set in my life.
Okay, so you have 4 people now. So I'm assuming that's Justin Gaethje, Rose Namajunas, Brandon Gertz. Is he one of them?
No, Brandon Gertz is with Jake.
Okay, who are the other 2?
So I got Nate, I've got Rose, I've got Justin Gaethje, and then I've got a new kid who's a boxer who is ranked number 1 as a youth, and now he moved out from Massachusetts to work with me. I haven't worked with an amateur in 15 years, and gotten a little bit of trouble out in Boston, so he had a big brother move him out here and hire me to coach him and life coach him too. And he's such a great kid. It reminds me a lot of myself when I was growing up, hanging out with the wrong kids. I got in trouble also. So to me, there's a lot going into this just because it's fun. I really like to help people, find the right things in life and chase the things that's going to help you out later on in life, because it's very easy to get around the wrong people and all of a sudden you're going, what did I do? So I was able to experience that as a child. And for me to be able to help guide him, I mean, it's a new passion for me. His name is Miguel Tio. So very talented kid and fun to work with.
Okay, awesome. So Justin Gaethje, what's next for him? Is he going to be fighting Jason High?
We don't know yet. We're waiting on it. There's 2 guys that we've been told. Ozzy, I'm not going to try to butcher his last name. He's the Russian guy from World Series. He's fought a few times for World Series. And then Jason High. So either one. I mean, for me, it's all about the experience. As long as we're not getting too many rematches, because I'm not really into rematches, because it's all about experience.
Right.
Especially where he's at in his career. It's about, finding new styles and competing against new techniques so we can be exposed on what we got to polish up. That way when we, get to another division and go for another title, we can continue to perform. So it's all about seeing new stuff for me. And really not staying too long on the shelf.
Okay. Now, you got Rose Namajunas. She has a big fight coming up. I mean, a huge fight at UFC 201 against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Did I say that right?
You're awesome. I'm not even going to try to even say if that is right or not. That's one of my biggest faults is, man, I'm bad with names. So I didn't try to say them.
Yeah, it's a mouthful for sure. But she's tough, man. She's 9-0. I mean, she is a scrappy lady. But Rose is on a tear. Rose is on an absolute tear. And, she's right there in title contention to get another shot at the belt. Yeah.
This is fun. Rose is another fun person to work with. She's a student of the game. She listens so well. She's so darn athletic. She catches it so quick. And, I mean, she's just growing every fight. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. Again, it's another a great step up in competition, another undefeated person. So it'd be 2 in a row that we get to go with that we're undefeated. undefeated. So, I mean, I'm really excited about going out there and competing, putting taking that notch off the record. But Rose, it's one of those things, man. If she's right mentally, I think she beats anybody in the UFC at the moment. You know, it's all about that where she's at mentally. You know, like the fight with Carla Esparza, I take 100% credit for the loss in that fight.
Really?
I don't think Rose lost in that fight. She got submitted, and the choke was given to Carla because of. For me, I felt like we were cheerleaders and hype men going into that fight, and I felt like I led her into a war that, I made her believe it wasn't going to be that tough of a fight. When I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but sometimes you get, you start falling for how she's performing, how good of a finisher she is. It's very easy to let yourself go sometimes, and I really flipped in that one, and to me, it's, I take 100% fault in that fight, and at some point I hope that we get to face Carla again. You can expect to see a different Rose. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Rose she is definitely a force. And as far as the mental aspect goes, I mean, we see her, she's about to enter the octagon, and Pat Barry's out there giving her the king of all pep talks. I mean, what's it like having Pat Barry around? Does he make it interesting?
Pat makes it interesting. He makes anything interesting. You can have dinner with Pat, and it's interesting. He's a great dude, and he's the best hype man in the game. It's Pat being Pat when we're out there, so it's natural. I mean, that's how Pat is all the time, so it's not something that's unexpected. So, it's up to me to gauge where she's at the moment, and, pull her back if I need to. But having Pat there is natural for her because she's used to being around with him all the time. So going into that night, it's definitely entertainment. You'll see a lot of it. It's cool to watch, and it brings hype to the team. But again, it's all the stuff that comes into the fight mentally is the process. When you walk into the cage, once you're to the cage, all that stuff is going away, and it's the build up. It's the thought process of getting through every hard training session and staying focused mentally.
Okay. Now, have you heard any talks of Pat Barry coming back, or is he staying retired?
I mean, there's always talk about him coming back, but it's one of those things. It's all or nothing, and I'm a big believer in that. So it's got to be at a point in your career when you get a certain age, it's very tough to stay consistent in anything that you're doing, and. What I mean by that is it's like Dwayne Ludwig in the end of his career. It's so hard to stay consistent when your body is breaking down, and when you're going into normal training sessions where and little things injure you. It's hard to stay focused and stay consistent. And consistency and persistence is the key to success. And when your body keeps breaking down on you, it is what it is. Your machine can only last so long. And being a heavyweight like Pat. I mean, he's got so much leverage and explosiveness to him, and then you're going against guys who are the biggest hitters in the game. So it's your body is broken down. It's not knockouts what I'm talking about, or headshots what I'm talking about. It's the joints, the ligaments, all the things that have been used for so many years that it's hard to stay consistent. So I mean, if he can get through training camps and get through a certain amount of time and train without being injured, I think it's something he can do, but that's something that has to be assessed.
Okay. Now, I got to ask the same thing about Shane Carwin. I know he saw Brock was coming back, kind of put something out there. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, a fight against Shane and Brock is always an exciting fight. It's again going back to the same thing. It's hard when you're that big. Yeah, I mean, falling. You think about it, man. When I was small and I had 60 fights underneath 100 pounds, and then 20 above 100 pounds as I was growing. But I was a small dude. I was 4'11", 92 pounds all the way through 11th grade. Oh, wow. And I was so athletic, so fast, that when I fell, nothing hurt. And as you get taller, you start to fall. You fall harder. The bigger you become, the harder you fall, even if you know how to fall. And big guys like Shane, like Pat, those guys, man, it's different on your body. And again, it goes back to the injury toll. You know, how long do you stay sore? how long can your joints take punishment? And look at the guys in the heavyweight division. How long do they last holding the title? It's very hard because what happens to your body through that competition. He played high level football before this also. So again, all that contact is very rough on the body. It'd be cool to see a fight against Brock, but again, coming into these these are world level guys. Not to say that Shane can't compete if he's in 100% shape and consistent with it, but it's hard to bounce back in unless you're staying consistent with it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You still talk to Neil Magny at all?
Oh yeah, I see him here and there.
Okay, he's been on an absolute tear. He's won 10 of his last 11.
He's amazing. He's a performer. That guy's talk about consistency and persistence. That's probably one of the most consistent, persistent guys that you'll see in the game. Always asking for fights. Same thing with like a Cowboy Cerrone. Consistency. Yeah. He's consistent. He's always in the gym, always training, always doing what he loves. And when he's not in the gym, he's doing something athletic and something to challenge the mind, whether he's jumping wakeboards or riding horses and riding them fast and jumping things. I mean, he's got one of those X game mentalities. Same with Neil. Neil stays in the gym, and that's, I would say, the biggest key to Neil's success is his consistency. He never stops. He'll be in the gym right after a fight, guaranteed. Yeah, that's why I loved him so much on the show. He would go after it. Yeah, he's the guy who I felt had the best future and the brightest future from season 16 or 17, whatever number that was on, when Shane coached against Roy.
I think it was 16.
I always mix him up.
Man, but yeah, Neil's definitely he's impressing me, and I feel like who's won 10 of their last 11 that quietly. He's so off the radar that what a sleeper.
He's gonna give anybody problems at 170. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's one thing is again, that's consistency, but the one thing he does is he's a workhorse. He goes out there and applies pressure, and he touches you all the time. So it's very hard to win rounds with Neil. And once you start doing that, he's very good at getting people to come out of their game because they realize, oh man, I'm going down on the cards right now. So they start to come out of their natural fighting element. And Neil's very good at exposing that, making people fight a different fight.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch.